Welcome everyone to Things Around 8. Dear friends, in this video we will talk about the announcement made by the Prime Minister of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan, who said he had decided to withdraw his country from the CSTO, the Russian military alliance, and how the Russians promised to react to this. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any news. Military alliances are among the most important mechanisms for the survival of any nation, kingdom or empire, regardless of its size or strength, with the Roman Empire being a classic case of this. Despite being the largest and most powerful empire of its time, the Romans did not dispense with military alliances with other kingdoms or smaller empires, because they knew that, in this way, they would not only have extra soldiers to fight in their wars, but they would also have the guarantee that that specific ally would not easily become an enemy in the short or medium term. This principle continued to apply throughout history, reaching, of course, the 20th century, with a military alliance signed between England, France and Poland, which was decisive for the beginning of the greatest conflict in history. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland, believing that the English and French would not honor the alliance signed with the Poles. However, London and Paris were determined to stop German expansionism, and so they honored the pact with Warsaw, declaring war on Germany after the Germans refused to leave the country. And during that conflict, military alliances continued to play an important role, especially the Allies, led by the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, one of the largest alliances ever created in history, and which at its peak included more than 50 nations. After the end of that conflict, military alliances returned in full force. Since at that time Stalin's Red Army had more soldiers, armored vehicles and aircraft than all the European countries combined, the only way to stop the Soviet expansionist impetus would be through an alliance that also involved the United States. Thus, NATO was born in 1949, originally formed by 10 European countries, plus the United States and Canada. In 1955, in response to West Germany joining NATO, the Soviets created their own military alliance, the Warsaw Pact, which initially consisted of all the Soviet Socialist republics, plus Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland and Romania. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the Warsaw Pact obviously ceased to exist, but Russia, and some nations that had once been allies, decided to create another similar military alliance, the CST, an acronym for the Collective Security Treaty, being born in 1992. It was renamed in 2002 as the CSTO, an acronym for the Collective Security Treaty Organization, a full military alliance that says that an attack on one member is an attack on all other members, requiring a joint military response from all, with all 6 member countries effectively believing this until September 2020, when Azerbaijan attacked Armenia in the Nagorno-Karabakh War. Despite Armenia's repeated requests for help, Russia decided to ignore its ally, with Putin merely brokering meetings between the two warring parties. When that war ended in November 2020, Russia sent a peacekeeping force to Nagorno-Karabakh, with the mission of preventing the war from reigniting until the conflict could be resolved through diplomatic means. However, in December 2022, Azerbaijan attacked again, imposing a complete blockade of Nagorno-Karabakh, preventing even basic necessities from entering the region for 120,000 people, most of whom were ethnic Armenians. And once again, despite all of Armenia's appeals, Russia, the leader of the CSTO alliance, refused to provide assistance to its ally, thereby increasing Azerbaijan's confidence, which in September 2023 attacked again, reigniting the war, resulting in a military offensive that completely expelled Armenia from the region, forcing more than 100,000 Armenians to flee to Armenia. All this Russian action, solemnly ignoring a military ally, led Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan to become the protagonist of genuine episodes of fury, saying several times that his country had been betrayed by Russia, and that the CSTO alliance had no reason to exist, since it was incapable of doing exactly what it was created for, which was to protect and provide military support to a member under attack. All this led Armenia to gradually distance itself from Russia and to get closer to the United States and other Western powers, such as France, with Prime Minister Pashinyan even stating that his goal was to establish security partnerships with nations other than Russia. This Armenian distancing led Russia to protest to high-ranking members of the Putin regime, including propagandists, doing to Armenia exactly what they did to Ukraine before the Russian invasion, creating false arguments to transform Armenia, in the eyes of Russian society, into an enemy country, with many Russian propagandists accusing Prime Minister Pashinyan of being a traitor and of leading Armenia to what they called a catastrophe. But despite all the Russian threats and pressure, Pashinyan continued with his policy of distancing himself from Russia, officially announcing this Wednesday, June 12, that Armenia will effectively leave the CSTO alliance, with the exact date to be announced soon. According to Pashinyan, Russia and the other members have broken the alliance pact on several occasions, with the Armenian Prime Minister accusing Putin himself of having encouraged the war and the victory of Azerbaijan, aiming to sign advantageous oil and gas purchase and sale agreements with that country. Pashinyan's announcement was, obviously, very poorly received in Russia, with Russian politicians and propagandists increasing the tone of the threats even more, with some even saying that Putin will have no other option but to attack Armenia to prevent the country from getting closer to the West. With Russia 100% focused on Ukraine, many believe that this attack could come through Azerbaijan, with Azeri President Ilham Aliyev having expressed on several occasions his desire to open a corridor through Armenia to connect the main territory of Azerbaijan with the Nakhchivan exclave. According to many analysts, Putin would give the green light for an Azeri attack on Armenia, aiming to open this corridor as revenge for a failure committed by Russia itself, which was to honor an alliance pact. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any news.